I still remember the sound of her voice before I ever saw her face, calm, steady, like someone who'd been through a lot and learned not to rush a single word. That night, I wasn't supposed to meet her. I was supposed to meet her daughter. It was a Wednesday, cold enough that the air burned when I breathed. I'd been seeing Emma for a few weeks, casual texts, coffee runs, nothing serious yet. She'd invited me over to watch a movie. Said her mom might be around but she keeps to herself. I didn't think twice. When I knocked on the door, the woman who opened it wasn't what I expected. She had a paint-stained hoodie on, hair tied up like she'd been busy and forgot to check the mirror. But there was something about her eyes, clear, sharp, not soft exactly, but observant. She looked at me like she could see through the excuses people give for being young. "Hi," I said, a little unsure. "I'm here for Emma." Her mouth twitched, not a smile, not quite. "She's running late," she said. "Come in. You can wait." Her voice was low, even. The kind that carries warmth only after you've earned it. Inside, the house smelled faintly of turpentine and rain. Canvases leaned against the walls, half-finished paintings, mostly abstract. The light in the living room was dim, golden, like it had given up trying to be daylight. I sat on the edge of the couch. She brought me tea without asking, like she'd already made peace with the awkwardness. She said she'd be back soon. I asked. "She loses track of time," she said, sitting across from me. "Always has." There was a pause long enough to make me check my phone. Then she said, "You're younger than I thought." I laughed, too quickly. "That a bad thing?" "Not necessarily," she said, but her gaze didn't let go of mine. It's rare to see someone your age who listens." Something about the way she said it, "listens," made me want to. So I did. She told me she used to paint full-time before things got complicated. I didn't ask how. She talked about how colors could be louder than words. I watched her hands move as she spoke, the small, unconscious gestures, like she was still shaping something invisible. The air felt charged, but neither of us named it. I tried to play it casual, to lean back and sip the tea. But my hand brushed hers when I set the cup down, and she froze for half a breath. Just long enough to notice. "Sorry," I muttered. "Don't be," she said softly, eyes flicking to the cup, then back to me. It should have ended there, just a quiet, strange wait in a stranger's living room. But there was something about the way she kept glancing toward the window, like she was waiting for something she didn't want to arrive. I checked the time again. 40 minutes. Still no sign of Emma. "She does this sometimes," the woman said finally. "Makes plans she can't keep." She smiled, but it looked tired. Regretful. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. The silence stretched, comfortable and dangerous all at once. Her knee brushed mine when she leaned forward to pick up her mug, and neither of us moved away. Outside, a car pulled up. Headlights flashed through the window. She glanced toward the door, then back at me. "You don't have to tell her you were waiting," she said quietly. "If you don't want to." Before I could answer, the front door handle turned. The moment cracked open, and everything that came after began there. Emma came through the door laughing, breathless, apologizing in pieces. "Sorry. Traffic was a mess, Mom, you met." Her mother stood, calm again, as if the stillness of the house had returned to her. "We've met," she said simply. "He's been waiting." Emma kissed her mom's cheek, her perfume flooding the room, light and sharp. She turned to me, smiling, unaware that the quiet had already shifted. The evening went on like it was supposed to, a movie, pizza, half-finished jokes. Her mom disappeared into her studio after a while, the sound of a brush dragging faintly across canvas. But my eyes kept catching on the light beneath the door, the occasional shadow moving inside. I told myself it was nothing. Just curiosity. Just respect. Still, when Emma left for the weekend, a last-minute trip with friends, I found myself texting her mom. I told myself it was polite, that I'd left my jacket. She said she'd leave it by the door. But when I showed up, she opened it instead. "You could have just called," she said, voice soft, not unkind. "I wanted to make sure you got the text," I lied. She tilted her head, seeing through it but letting it pass. "You didn't come for a jacket." There it was, plain, heavy. The truth sitting between us like a fragile glass. I stepped inside. "Can I?" She hesitated, then nodded. The air smelled of oil paint and rain again. Canvases everywhere, unfinished faces, fragments of color that looked like emotion more than shape. "You paint people," I said. "I used to," she replied, wiping her hands on a rag. Then I stopped when looking started to hurt. I didn't know what she meant, but I wanted to. Her ex-husband's picture sat on a shelf, not a photo, but a sketch, half erased. She caught me looking. "He liked to leave," she said quietly. "That's the thing about some people. They don't end things. They drift until you stop noticing they're gone." I nodded, thinking about Emma. How she disappeared into distractions, how I'd been doing the same. "You're not like her," she said suddenly. "You look when people talk." I felt my throat tighten. Maybe I just don't know when to stop. She laughed then, a small, surprised sound that made her seem younger for a moment. "That can be dangerous." "Yeah," I said. "I'm starting to see that." The silence after that wasn't awkward. It was charged, the kind that fills up a room, thick enough to make every small sound matter. She turned to the window, the streetlights washing her in gold. "People think time makes you wiser," she murmured. "Mostly it just makes you careful." I stepped closer without thinking. Maybe careful isn't always better. Her hand was still stained with blue paint. I could see the faint tremor in her fingers before she reached to brush my sleeve, barely touching, more suggestion than contact. "You shouldn't," she said. But her voice didn't sound like warning. "I know," I whispered. The rain outside began to fall harder, drumming against the glass, steady, relentless. Neither of us moved. The next few days, I tried not to think about her. Didn't text. Didn't drive by the house. Didn't even open Emma's messages, though they kept coming, cheerful and scattered, like nothing in the world had changed. But every time my phone buzzed, I half hoped it wasn't Emma. I hoped it was her. By Saturday, I gave in. I told myself I was returning the jacket again, the one I never actually left behind. When she opened the door this time, she didn't look surprised. Just tired. The kind of tired that sits in your shoulders and doesn't leave even after sleep. "Emma's not here," she said, already stepping aside. "I know," I said. That was all it took. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of turpentine and coffee gone cold. She was painting again, a woman's outline, half finished, her face obscured in a haze of gray and gold. "She looks sad," I said. "She's deciding," she replied, eyes on the canvas. "Whether to stay or walk away." She didn't look at me when she said it, but I felt the words hit anyway. "I thought you stopped painting people," I said. "I did. Then you showed up." She said it too easily, and for a second, neither of us breathed. I took a step closer, then another. She didn't move back. The silence between us stretched, tighter than before. Then, the front door rattled. A key turning. She flinched. Her eyes widened. He's early. Who? My ex. He still has things here. The panic in her voice jolted me. She grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the studio door. Go. Stay quiet. I slipped inside just as the door opened. From the narrow crack, I watched her shift. Her posture changed, shoulders squared, voice even. You didn't say you were coming today, she said. Didn't think I had to, a man's voice answered, low, rough. It's still half my stuff in that garage. He moved around the living room, the sound of footsteps and drawers. You repainting again? He asked, suspicion under his tone. Trying to, she said. He paused. You smell like cologne. My pulse kicked hard. She didn't flinch. Maybe it's yours. You used to leave it everywhere. A long silence. Then his voice softened. You still mad? I stopped being mad a long time ago. The front door finally shut. I stayed hidden for a few seconds longer, the adrenaline sharp and bitter in my mouth. When I came out, she was standing near the canvas, hands trembling. He can't know, she whispered. Not about anyone. Not even this. I get it. No, she said, turning toward me. You don't. Her eyes glistened, not tears, just the sheen of restraint. I don't want to ruin you. Or her. You won't, I said, stepping closer. Then stop. I can't. Her breath caught, a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. For a moment, we were inches apart, her paint-smeared fingers hovering near my face, not touching. The air between us burned with everything we shouldn't say. Then her phone buzzed on the table. Emma, Mom, are you home? I'm coming by tonight. We both stared at the screen, and neither of us moved. She didn't answer Emma's text. She just turned the phone face down on the counter and stared at the window, her reflection faint in the glass, eyes tired, mouth trembling slightly. You should go, she said finally. I didn't move. Do you want me to? That's not the same question. Her voice cracked just a little on same. I could have stepped back. Should have. But everything in the air, the smell of paint, the fading daylight, the low hum of rain outside, felt like it was holding its breath. You can't keep doing this, she said. You're too young to what? To feel something real? She looked at me then. Really looked. You think that's what this is? I don't know, I said. But I can't stop thinking about you. The words came out raw, unplanned. Her hand gripped the counter, knuckles white. Don't say that, she whispered. You don't mean it. I do. She turned away like she could outrun the sound. You don't understand what it costs. You'll wake up one day and hate me for it. I took a step closer. You think that scares me? It should. Her voice was shaking now, all the calm gone. You think this is some secret movie moment? I have a daughter your age. You're supposed to be with her, not who. The silence after that question was sharp enough to hurt. Her breathing was uneven. I could see her chest rise and fall, her pulse fluttering in her throat. You should hate me for not stopping this, she said. I can't. Her eyes filled with something I couldn't read, part anger, part grief, part everything she'd been holding back for years. I've spent my whole life keeping things neat, she said quietly. Making sure nothing spilled over the edges. And then you walk in, and suddenly I can't think straight. She pressed her palms to her temples like she could push the thought back inside. This isn't fair to you. I don't want fair. She laughed then, short, broken. That's exactly why I'm afraid of you. I reached for her wrist before she could pull away. My fingers brushed her skin, warm, trembling. She didn't move. "Say you don't feel it," I said. Her lips parted. Nothing came out. Outside, thunder rolled low and far away, rattling the windows. The storm had moved in without warning. "I can't do this," she said, but her voice betrayed her, too soft, too late. The electricity flickered. The room dimmed, then brightened again. For one suspended second, everything narrowed, the sound of her breath, the nearness, the smell of rain-soaked air between us. Then her phone lit up again. "Emma." Calling this time. The sound tore through the moment. She looked at me, eyes wide, mouth half open, as if she might say something that would change everything. But she didn't. The phone kept ringing, the phone stopped ringing, but the silence it left behind was worse. She finally exhaled, stepped back, and pressed her palms against the counter, steadying herself like she might fall. "I have to tell you something," she said, not meeting my eyes. Her voice was flat now, stripped of all softness. The storm outside had thickened, rain pounding against the roof like static. "I wasn't supposed to let you in that first day," she said. "Emma didn't invite you. She told me she wasn't seeing anyone." My stomach dropped. "What?" "She said you'd been texting her, showing up uninvited. I thought she was exaggerating, until you knocked. I thought maybe I'd scare you off. Then you stayed." The words hit slow, dull, like each one needed a second to land. "That's not true," I said. She asked me to come over. We were supposed to hang out." She looked up finally, eyes scanning my face for a lie. "You're sure? I wouldn't make that up." She blinked, once, twice, her certainty cracking. Then she lied to me. The weight of it hung there between us, not anger yet, but something worse. Realization. She turned away, gripping the edge of the counter like she could steady her thoughts. "She's been different lately. Distant. Secretive." "Maybe she knew," I said quietly. She looked back at me, eyes narrowing. "Knew what?" "That there was something between us." The air shifted, sharp, fragile. "Don't say that," she whispered. "Don't make it real." But it already was. The lights flickered again, the storm pressing closer. She stepped toward me, then stopped halfway. I could see the fight in her posture, half defensive, half drawn. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Not now." "Then tell me to leave." She didn't. Instead, she walked to the window, watching the rain streak down the glass. "She'll be here soon," she murmured. "And she can't find you." Something cold crawled up my spine. "You're protecting her from me." "No," she said quickly. "From this. From what I've done." She turned then, eyes shining, the first trace of fear I'd ever seen in her. "You think you're the only one who feels guilty?" I didn't answer. Every message I sent her now, every lie about where I've been, I feel it. Her voice cracked. "You think you're the risk, but it's me." I started it. A car engine cut through the storm, headlights flashing across the curtains. She froze. "That's her." I looked toward the door. My pulse was hammering. "Then tell her. Tell her the truth. She'll hate me. Maybe she already does." Her expression broke, something raw flickering through it, a kind of grief that wasn't new. "I can't lose her," she whispered. "Not for something that was never supposed to happen." Then her phone buzzed again, a text this time. "Emma, I saw your car. Who's with you?" She looked at the screen, then at me. And for the first time, she didn't move to hide it. The headlights outside didn't fade. They just stayed there, idling in the rain, lighting up the thin curtains like a warning. She didn't move. Her hand gripped the phone so tightly her knuckles went white. "She's not going to leave," she whispered. "Then let her come in," I said. "We can stop lying." She turned, eyes full of panic. "You don't understand what that does to her. To us." I stepped closer. "Then what do we do? Keep pretending I'm just her age, her friend, her—" "Stop." The word hit sharp, desperate. "Don't make this harder." Her voice cracked, and that did more to me than the word itself. Because beneath it, there was something soft, terrified, honest. "You think this doesn't destroy me," she said. "Every time I hear from her, I feel like I'm stealing something that doesn't belong to me." I wanted to tell her she wasn't, that what we had wasn't theft, it was truth finding its way through the cracks. But even in my chest, the words felt like wishful thinking. A car door slammed outside. The sound made both of us jump. "She's coming," I said quietly. Her breathing quickened. "You have to go. Please." I shook my head. "I'm done sneaking out of rooms like I'm the mistake." She stared at me, and for a second, all the noise, the rain, the hum of the refrigerator, even the pounding in my own chest, disappeared. "Then what are we?" she asked. "Tell me what to call this." I took a step toward her, slow. "I don't know. But I know it's real." Her lips parted, trembling. "Real doesn't always mean right." "Maybe not," I said, "but it's ours." Something inside her gave way then. The fight left her face, replaced by exhaustion, and something that looked like peace trying to take shape. "I used to think love made you brave," she said softly. "Now I think it just shows you who you've been afraid to be." The front door handle turned. She flinched, and I watched her decide, in the small shift of her shoulders, the tightening of her jaw. She looked at me once more, really looked, and I could see every contradiction in her eyes, the wanting, the fear, the ache of doing what's right when it feels wrong. "Go," she said, voice barely a breath. "Please." "I'll go," I said. "But don't lie about what this was." Her hand brushed my face, paint still dried along her fingers, cool and trembling. "I couldn't lie if I tried." Then I turned toward the back door, slipping out into the rain as the front one opened. Through the thin wall, I heard Emma's voice, confused, searching. And her mother's, calm, steady again. The voice of someone who had chosen silence because it hurt less than truth. I stood under the rain until her words were gone. Even then, I didn't leave that I didn't see her for weeks. I told myself I wouldn't text. Wouldn't drive by. Wouldn't think about the sound of her voice when she said my name like it meant something she didn't have permission to say. But it didn't work. Every time it rained, I thought of that house, the smell of turpentine, the soft scrape of her brush against canvas, the way she'd look up at me like she was surprised I was still there. Emma texted me once. "Mom said you dropped something off for her. She's been quiet lately." I didn't answer. I didn't know how. Weeks turned to months, and life did what it always does, it moved. Emma met someone new. I pretended to be okay with that. I even smiled when she told me, though I could feel the weight of something unspoken pressing down inside me. Then one afternoon, I saw her mom again. It was at a small gallery downtown. I'd gone there with a friend, not knowing whose work was being shown. But when I walked in, I saw it immediately, her style. That quiet kind of chaos. The way she made color feel like memory. She was standing near the back, her hair loose, a paint smear still on her wrist. Our eyes met before I could look away. She didn't smile, but her face softened, that same unreadable expression she wore the day I left. I walked toward her, slow, unsure. "Didn't expect to see you here," I said. She nodded once. "I didn't expect to see anyone I knew." For a moment, we stood in front of one of her paintings, the one I'd seen unfinished months ago. The gray haze was gone. The woman's face was clearer now, older, steady. Behind her, the suggestion of rain. "She decided to stay," I said quietly. "She did," she replied. "But not where she thought she would." The silence stretched, not heavy this time, just full. "Emma okay?" I asked. "She's fine," she said. "She doesn't know everything, but she knows enough." I nodded. "You told her?" "I told her I made mistakes." I wanted to ask if she said my name, but I didn't. Some things are better left implied. She looked at me again, and there was something new in her eyes, not guilt, not fear. Maybe peace. Maybe regret that had learned how to live quietly. "I never stopped thinking about you," I said finally. She exhaled, slow. "I know." Her hand brushed mine briefly, just enough to remind me of everything we'd almost been. "Some people pass through your life," she said softly, "and some people change the way you see it. You were the second kind." There wasn't anything left to say after that. When she turned to greet someone else, I stepped back, watching her fade into the small crowd. Outside, the rain had started again. It didn't feel like an ending, not exactly. More like the kind of silence that follows truth when it's finally spoken. I walked away smiling, sad and certain, both at once. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?